Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Radio.
Roger, Roger. What's the name there?
This is Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Radio. The name here is Scott. I'm located in Maryland. And I have recordings of my radio on your show, but today I'm using a different radio, so I wanted to see if how it's sounding your way and see if I need to make any changes to it.
Well, Scott, it sounds pretty good. I am getting a little bit of local static. I think it may be a leftover from Christmas. Somebody's Christmas decoration. It sounds very similar to some kind of Christmas electronic celebration. Roger, Roger?
Roger, Roger. Well, my normal go-to radio is a DX3000. 781 microphone. Right now I'm talking to you on a ICOM 7300, and I'm using the ICOM SM50 microphone. I'm barefoot, and I'm coming to you on a long wire, 117-foot wire that's in an inverted L antenna, and just barefoot, so I'm not sure if I'm making the trip that great to you today or not. Normally I run an amplifier, but I have the 7300 in a shack on its own path, and it just runs barefoot all the time.
Roger, Roger, Scott. Well, it sounded really good, sir, and I am copying you on a 7300. We're testing out the receive 7300 for the next couple of weeks, and we're cutting in between the 990 and the 7300. The 990 is a classic in its own way, and we've got it modified to extend its flat frequency response. And so when we switch back and forth from the 7300 to the 990, the audio quality is very, very, very similar. And we have an input source indicator, a visual input source indicator, and that is, we're running this 6-position input select, which has the 7300, the 990, Rochester SDR, Milford SDR, Atlanta SDR, and Arlington SDR on it. And there is a visual input source indicator on the set that will show you, as you're listening to the videotape playback, exactly where I am as far as the input source. We have lights and the camera's action, but no, we have 6 lights, and along beside them the name of the entity that it's related to. So when we switch our inputs, that light switches, and we'll let you know exactly what we're doing. So on your audio, obviously the 7300 is beautiful. Your EQ curve is excellent, and your dynamic range, being a 7300, is running about 2.5 to 3 dB dynamic range, so your average percent of peak modulation is about 80 to 85%. Roger?
Yeah, copy that, Roger. I'm trying to decide whether I really love this ICOM SM50 microphone or whether I should get the Heil microphone on a switch box and run it on this radio, or maybe get like a Heil ICM. Some people love this microphone, some people don't, so I'm just trying to decide if I like it or not. It's got the low cut switch on it, and right now I have it turned off. It's right there. I just kicked the low cut switch in, so it probably thinned out my audio just a little bit, maybe a little better for getting through like a pile up, I'm not sure. But some people prefer it like that, especially if the conditions are rough. And there it is back off, so there's my bass again, which is the low cut uncut, I guess I should say. So I'm not sure which you prefer, but I guess I'll be able to hear it on the playback on your radio show. From Whiskey 3 Golf Tango Radio, back to you, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor.
Roger, Scott. Well, obviously you're right. The low cut did kind of cut the bottom end. I think that microphone is ideal for you. It just is a beautiful frequency response, and it sounds really. You sound really great on it. I don't think that you really have to cut the bottom to compete in a pileup. The EQ is such that I think just that one way, without the cut is, can go either way beautifully. Roger?
Yeah, copy that. A lot of the rag chewers that I talk to say that my I.S.I radio is louder, even though when I'm running them barefoot. So I wonder if I could turn up the mic still get a little louder as far as cutting through. So maybe I'll try that with you while I'm on the air. Right now I have the mic gain set to 60%. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. Let's go up to 70 and see if that makes much of a difference. So right now the mic gain is on 70% now. I'm just curious if that makes any difference or if it's too over the top, if it made any significant change that would be worthwhile keeping it at 70% rather than 60.
Roger. Well, it is over the top. My personal preference, I can begin to hear you up against the wall, meaning no dynamic range. And I think audio has to have a certain swing to it, a certain dynamic range where it feels warm. When you start up against the wall, there's no warmth left. I mean, it just there's no breathe, there's no breath. It's just up against the wall, you know. And I prefer the way you came in the beginning. You know, you had your mic had a nice bottom end to it, and your dynamic range was about maybe 3 dB, maybe 2.5, but somewhere in that area, and I think that's just ideal, Roger. And you can hear it on the playback.
Yeah, I copy that, and that's why I did it while I was on the air with you, because I really truly wanted to hear it. I put it back to 60%. I'm running the compression at 2, and I forget how I have the EQ set. I'll have to look at it, but I think I have the bass turned down and the treble maybe at 0, and I know I'm running the radio on its wide setting. Copy?
Oh yeah, wide setting, sure. And I would prefer that you run 3 on compression and back off your gain to 45. I think that works out a little bit better. You don't hear quite as much breathing, Roger.
All right, well, I'm going to do that while I'm talking to you. So the compression is now just moved it to 3, and I'm backing the audio back to, let's try that 50 at first and see if it needs to go more. All right, so that is with the compression at 3 at 50% from Whiskey 3 Golf Tango Radio. Let me come back.
Yeah, I think that's great right there, man. I really like that. 2 is and the other way works, but I think it doesn't have quite the dynamic range that you do this way, and my preference. But listen to the tape, man. It tells no lies.
I understand, but I just figured I would check it out there. All right, so I'll try it like this for a little while. It's something new to try out. I moved the compression to 3, and I backed the mic gain from 60 to 50. So up 1 and down 10. Maybe this will make a difference, or maybe it won't, but when I listen to your recording, I'll have to decide.
Roger. 3's that way, sir. Thanks for checking in, man.